episode of Kyle Woods Outdoors. Today we're fishing a small little brook trout stream. I have a fiberglass head and rod with me. It's 8.5 feet. It takes an 8-weight line. I'm fishing a dry 8-weight line on it with a tapered tippet starting at a 2X line. I do about 6 feet of such, and then I'll go to a size 3 line, and I do about 30 inches of that, and then I do a size 5 tippet line for about 18 inches. And today I've chosen a copper john. I was fishing previously elk hair caddis, but they didn't want to rise for me. It's pretty hot. It's close to noon, and it's roughly 85, 87 degrees out. So not unbearable for me to be out there, but for the fish to be rising for dry flies. And it being so close to the hour where the sun's directly on them, they're not willing to come up for me. So I'm changing to some Euro nymphing tactics. Say what you will about Euro nymphing, but casting a heavy weighted fly upstream and pulling it back to you until you feel the fish come out and bite it is one of the best ways I've come to catch some fish. I don't just do it with Euro nymphs though, I do it with streamers as well, as I toss up to the top of the hole or in front of it, like way above where my hole actually is, so that by the time it floats into where the hole is, it's sunken plenty and is dragging practically on the bottom for these fish to really get a good look at and decide if they want to munch on it or not. So I know I normally don't talk tactics, but you can see here that I'm catching some fish. So tactics sometimes matter. They definitely help you catch some fish if you're new to fly fishing and you're curious about tippet builds and whether or not you should buy pre-tapered leaders or if you could just build your own. I like building my own because I don't really like always driving to the store for new tapered leaders, and even though I catch fish and I feel like I'm pretty good at fly fishing, or I totally suck, whatever you want to say, I still catch trees, I still catch bushes, I still have whole tippets rip off and or have fish take the whole tippet off. You know, as much as I try and make solid knots and do triple surgeons or quadruple surgeons and good nail knots or perfection loops, sometimes things just happen. I don't know why I lost half of my tippet in the tree along with a expensive fly or time consuming fly, but I still enjoy the sport. I try and practice it every day. I think it's just important to get outside, especially when a world gets crazy and wants you to believe something or nothing at all. Just go out and do it for you, not for anyone else. You gotta fish for yourself. Sometimes you catch fish, sometimes they bite and they don't come all the way up to your hand. It's all part of the fun and thrill of maybe catching fish or maybe not catching fish. It's fishing. They don't call it catching. Some days are great, some days are terrible. Only you can decide which one it's going to really be. Things can happen to you, but you can still make it a great day. You just have to maybe look at it in a whole new way. maybe you have to step 2 paces or 3 to the right and try and put a new angle on it. Maybe you've been retrieving in the wrong area. Maybe 6 inches to the left is where you need to place it. You never really know, unless you've been there. But there is, I will say, a real good drop off here where it goes from, maybe 8 inches of water to 4 feet or so. And that's where all these little creek chub keep hanging out. It's been a successful spot for brook trout in the past, and hopefully I get a brook trout today, but only the video will tell. So, gotta wet your hand and take care of all the fish you can. You gotta let them grow up and get big for other fish to eat. Always zip up your pockets. A lot of the time I'll leave it just open and be reaching down to wet my hand or get a fish off, and there goes my fly box. I mean, luckily it floats and I'm pretty quick about trying to gather it together, but I've also had some unfortunate circumstances happen on the river as well. Just advice, advice to myself more or less, because you saw it all happen. There's a couple of rocks up in that tunnel. Sometimes you get a little trout to rise for them, but most of them are in the hole, especially on a hot day like today. Or should I say this day? I'm recording everything post-production, so excuse my past or present timeline narrative. But I just keep on stripping that fly through that hole. Sometimes you can feel them bite. Sometimes you try and set the hook and pull the whole thing out of the water. Then you catch a bush. But you just gotta make the best of it. Summer goes by way too fast. I know spring did. All the seasons seem to just go fast. That fish was so fast I didn't even get to reel him in. Sorry for the camera shake. I think I had like a bug on my face and I was swatting at it, and this would cause caused everything to happen. The mosquitoes were pretty fierce down there. There's a lot of like dead water. Like they tried to control it with rocks, but I don't know. There's like a pocket of water behind me and some other places. But look here, we got another fish. This looks promising. I go back to my little spot where I can wet my hand and get this fish off. Wetting your hand is important because it helps protect the fish's slime coat, which pretty much protects them from bacteria and other pests and parasites. It also helps them from sticking to your hand if your hand is wet. Helps you and helps the fish drastically. So, wet your hands. And they're taking it, but you can almost see them on this camera. Come up to the camera. Just chasing the fly. Oh, and we got another fish. We tossed it across into the other deep pocket across the way. And we got ourselves a fish. Seems to be feistier than the other creek chub. I bet you this was a brook trout. And it is one of my favorite fish in the entire world. Just look at how beautiful all those spots are. Red dots with blue halos and camouflage on the top with red fins. Who could think of such a beautiful creature? Every tug on the line just gets me excited. So excited I set my hook up in the tree. Once again, I'm fishing a copper john, and I'll leave the pattern video in the comments below. So if you are a tyer, please look it up and see how I tied this particular one. It's sort of funky with an orange head and a green body, so I'll be tying the same thing. I like this fly for when the water's extra murky or right after a rain. That blaze orange just stands out and kind of gets their attention, even though I'm fishing a clearer and smaller, drier pool. We haven't had that much rain in this shot. And yes, the reeds get stuck. And they're chasing it. You don't have to retrieve always in the same pattern either. Sometimes you can do things where you wind up softly with your fingers, or do soft little tugs rather than big long strips. Just wiggle that bug in different ways. That's it for me, folks. Thanks for watching, and until next time, have some fun, get outside, go fishing.